Welcome to the official. I don't know why I always do this with my hands. You can't even see my hands when I do that. Welcome to the official launch announcement of the Taylor Jackson Destination Preset Pack. And basically, it's available for Patreon members as of today, and you have access to it. And that's all. If you're a Patreon member, you also get access to all of these, as well as on Monday, I started I would say the guide to wedding photography marketing in 2019. It is a lot of words. It's a lot of content. And I'm going into part 2 and part 3, which actually get more hands-on with SEO and actual like Facebook ads and scripts and videos, all kinds of stuff. So lots more to come, but already lots and lots of content there. So if you're not yet a Patreon member, maybe hop over there and get these right now. So this is Tim. This is the man that I was second shooting a wedding for. And basically like what I've been doing kind of over the past little bit here is I've just been creating presets for every destination wedding that I've shot. So I had one for Dominican, but I kind of overrode it with this Mexico preset that we're going to actually use today. So to give you, I guess, like just kind of a little scroll through. So this is the straight out of camera image. Everything you can see up here is are my settings. ISO 31, which is ISO low on the Nikon D850. Shot everything with my 85, as you saw yesterday in the video, and mostly at 1.4. I don't know. I really like the look of this specifically. Maybe you're not into it. Maybe you like it. Maybe you don't like that I chopped Tim off kind of at the kneecaps. It's a bit of a weird crop. That's one thing we'll fix. You always want to kind of crop in between limb joints, I guess. So to give you the quick little lowdown of these, this is Mexico. This is the preset that I've created for specifically this wedding. And I think that this wedding is pretty general to any resort style wedding, at least as far as lighting goes. I find that there's just a lot of really good reflective textures that whenever light comes in, even if it's overcast, it just like gives really good fill. It almost feels like you're kind of like in a studio, or that you've actually done some effort to set up some like reflectors and things like that. You just kind of get that naturally by walking around just with the soft marbles and the, I don't know, all the colors are kind of whites and grays and light browns, as well as kind of those green palm trees. So that's what I've kind of built this for. So that's what that one looks like. We're going to use that primarily. Cayman Islands, a little more contrasty. I was kind of feeling that a little bit more there. And then Bahamas is, I would say, maybe one of my oldest presets. So you can see that really, like, even though I am iterating on these presets, that to go from this one that's almost like 3 years old now, to this really isn't that significant of a difference. And I do that intentionally because I don't want, if you're looking back through my Instagram or back through my website, I don't want you to get something and be like, whoa, this is like really, really just not like the same photographer at all. So I do kind of iterate slowly into a direction that I think that my work should be going. And that's something that I hope that you kind of understand, that like, don't just drop these presets on your photos and be like, this is my new style now. Find kind of a transition that you can take. Or if you're just starting out right now, by all means, start with whatever these pieces you want. If you're a Patreon member, like, you get all of these. So you can select whatever ones you want that seem to work the best for the images. Super warm environments, like if you're in like a castle, or the castle that you've probably seen on my channel a few times, Hacienda, that everything is just really incandescent and warm, and everything is kind of bricks, and there's a lot of kind of like woods and things like that. I find that this preset works really good there. And then for the most part, I'm using kind of this anywhere that I'm in Canada this year, unless I find myself at a place that if I'm at like a hotel that is a little bit more reflective, and that there's more blues and greens and soft reflective surfaces that are making my life an easy softbox. So coming down here, we're gonna click this button. And that's pretty much it for that. We'll start at the beginning. Let's start at the beginning. This is George. George plays a lot of instruments. I think he plays all of the instruments. He looks like he plays all of the instruments right now in this photograph. So pretty much all I did there was it was just like add the preset a little bit under. For the most part, my presets do kind of expose a little bit more under to grab a little bit more tones. And then I use exposure to boost out of that and to create kind of where I want to take the overall image. So I'm happy with that. His hat's kind of clipping out a bit, so I might use a little bit of exposure correction here just to bring a little more detail in there. That's like a very final touch thing. I don't know if that's a thing that you should do. Basically, like, I guess I talked about this in the video yesterday, was that I am the second shooter for this wedding. So I am kind of playing the role of, I would say, like the groom's side photographer. So I spend a lot of time making sure that everybody on Hugo's side of the wedding is documented, his parents, everybody like that. What you're going to see in these images and what you saw yesterday is really just kind of a rough selection of images that I thought were interesting, because Tim has final edit over all of these, so he basically just gets my raw files. That's the way we always make it work when we're doing like second photography things. That end of the day, like, here's my files. I back them up on my side, or if Tim's seconding for me, he backs them up on his side. But other than that, it's like the lead shooter is the person that's going to process everything, so everything looks good and cohesive across the board. So inside this little area here, I almost feel like that is a more correct preset, but I kind of like that for today. It's a little too hard, but again, not my final edit delivery. Bahamas, you can see that I was a lot more natural to like inside my camera and how things are coming out. And then the After Dark preset we'll get to as well, but that's just for kind of After Dark. I've found that at destinations that I've been to specifically, the lighting package is always like one or two kind of LED lights. So I've kind of created a preset that works within those guidelines and does a pretty good job. So moving over here, this is Mr. Marshall Angus here, Marshall Angus Audio. You've maybe seen him. He ate a bunch of burgers in a Photographer In episode a long time ago, where we photoshopped hamburgers in the landscapes. And this room, we're going to see a little bit more of it later, or I guess you saw it yesterday. It's a very, very warm room. I would say that this is the warmest room in the entire place. Also, this is a crazy backlit photo. So doing the best I can here. And then also shooting at 1.4, Marshall is going to be a little bit soft. So George looks great. Marshall, I should have moved him just forward a little bit, but I don't know. From that distance, not a big deal. Here's a better photo of Marshall, Tim, and Andreas. So this is straight out of camera. As I kind of talked about, like the resort is just kind of a big softbox. Like the sun is coming in here and it's bouncing off everything that's good. And like, this is pretty much how I could have lit a studio style environment. Big softbox, very easy. So coming over here, what I'm actually going to do is right now, you know what? I almost like that image better straight out of camera than I do like that. Maybe it's a little too exposure. I don't know. I think to sit cohesively with everything else, it's smart to kind of keep the same preset, but quite honestly, I almost like it like that a lot more. That's just this specific image and the way that it kind of came together. Definitely overall a lot happier with it though. So maybe I'll do something like this and make it a little bit more HDR style than I normally would. So original image, kind of liking it better. This fits the gallery overall a lot better, which will become more apparent as we go through here. So I'm going to do a quick little select everything and add this preset to it. And you can do this by hitting Shift Command, and then I just copy over everything. In this case, exposure doesn't matter, but usually my presets pretty much take over everything in your Lightroom except for exposure specifically. So that's why that's like that. So obviously quite underexposed, but as soon as you open it up like that, it's kind of perfect. I'm quite happy with that image. Another image of Marshall. I think it's also important to get some good behind the scenes photos, specifically at this wedding, because we're all kind of friends of everybody. So I would say usually this doesn't happen, that we don't spend too much time taking images of one another. But this is also the first time that I've been to a rehearsal in a very, very long time. And this is coming to the wedding day. So one thing that I'll mention right now is that if you are shooting a destination wedding and it's a little hot, a little humid out, when you go outside, I basically just walked out my door, ran up 2 flights of stairs, and then took this picture. And as you can see, my lens is very much still like fully fogged out because of the moisture condensation change, which can be a cool element. It can also screw a lot of things up. So make sure that you kind of give that you have like some transition time in between hot and cold environments, because this was just demonstration image purpose to have just for to show you guys. So this is another one that I bet I liked better out of camera. No, I like this a little bit better out of camera. So as you can see, you are losing a little bit of kind of the ocean behind there, but I still feel like it has a good feeling to this image. It's also kind of a little magenta, but I feel like I was just shooting into a very dark space. I'm standing in darkness right here. So happy with that photo. Actual wedding day images, photos with Hugo. I like this shot a lot. Him getting ready. It was the three of us in the room together. Tim, Marshall, myself, and like 5 other dudes, as you saw. But I guess like the way that I kind of structured myself in this situation was really to not get a whole lot of photos. It was more to not get in the way and to pick up some candid shots along the way. But these are more kind of the staple shots that I figure that because Tim, I think he was shooting on a 35 at this point, that I figured I'd just do a few kind of pickup shots of the stuff that he was shooting with a much different lens, which I think is also like if you are second shooting, like to make sure you're always doing something different. And if you're not physically in a different place, be doing something different with your lens. If they're wide, be on something a little more telephoto, just to give a little bit of variation. This was my my experiment to make clouds, because I thought clouds would be important to include in the wedding day. I like that one. I don't know which cloud's going to be the best here. This is not something that I've done before, taking photos of clouds, but I figured as a second photographer, might as well deliver value that Tim wouldn't necessarily shoot. And I bet Tim didn't shoot any photos of just clouds, and I shot 3. So I kind of like the last one, which is the one that I thought that I would not like the best. I kind of like that the best. So I don't know. I thought it'd be a nice thing, like if they put up a bunch of images like on their wall, like in a mosaic, or just like a bunch of images from the wedding day, to have a few that are a lot more negative space. So like you'll see a lot of faces of people, but I think it's nice to have a couple resort shots and a couple shots that just kind of like make the whole scene kind of come together a little bit better as far as telling the entire wedding day story. So pretty wild colors in here. Incandescent bulbs behind me. So pretty challenging conditions right here. It would have been easier if we would have kind of flipped everything, but then you're kind of shooting back into a room that has a bunch of stuff in it. So sometimes it's just like, it's not the best and easiest to get exactly what you want, especially when you're working with the logistics of the day and trying to make everything run on time, as well as just like all of the other elements that go into a wedding day. So I did the best I could with this. I think Tim did a lot better. He was in there with 35. Same with this shot. It's all right, but it's by no means like the greatest shot I've ever taken. Ideally, I would want to be having kind of this light over here, actually on this side of our face, or if I was able to move like 2 steps over, which I couldn't, to be able to get kind of the shadow side. But again, those incandescent lights kind of taking over and just making some weird colors where I don't necessarily want them. This was a cool photo. I love the man in the fishing shirt just hanging out. We'll Photoshop him out. I think that might be a job for actual Photoshop. Pretty much what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this section right here and just plunk it on over top of them so that they disappear. But yeah, I was happy with that. It's a very cool staircase. Definitely kind of looks a little bit more like, I guess, like mid 90s when the entire resort was kind of made. But it is a good image. It's a lot of curved lines. Cool. All right, happy with that. All right, Hugo's entrance. And again, this is the super warm room, so I'm gonna go over here, I think, and find a good color temperature. Actually, you know what? That works really good. So this direction doesn't really work so good. Backlit a little bit harder, but moving over here, even though it looks like it's gonna be like super underexposed. So ideally, I would have wanted Hugo like right here, so that they would have been like perfectly done. But Tim was standing beside me, so I didn't want to push him out of the way for the shot. I think it was worth that. Bottom of the stairs. I was also rolling video on these moments as well, so I'm just showing you photos today. But I was also like, I did the video of Hugo's kind of first look. Again, like kind of looking this way, so want to cool it down just like a little bit. And I can use the previous button that's hiding behind my little image down here to just copy the settings over. cool. I like this shot a lot. I don't know how I feel with the little swoopy spot over here. It's a challenging crop, but I think that is slightly better. It should have been one step to my left to make a much better photo. So this is Tim just kind of working with all the guys and taking some photos, as people do on wedding days, I guess. And I'm just trying again to pick up as many kind of just shots of the groomsmen as possible. And this preset's working really good in this circumstance as well as kind of outside. So I think that I'm pretty happy with it. This is, I don't know what they're doing there. I don't remember. All right, more photos of Tim. This is me directing Tim. If you saw the video, I made him pretend that he was the wind and that he was eating a bowl of soup and a bunch of other stuff. So this is him eating some soup. I really do love like this 85 millimeter lens. It's really, really a fantastic thing to have on your camera all day. I know it might seem like a little crazy to just have only a single prime lens on you all day, but it's like for me, as far as the quality goes, whenever you nail one of the shots, and the more you use it, the better you're going to get. So as you use the lens a lot more, you're just going to have a higher yield and you're going to get more things in focus. You're going to know that if you're shooting into extreme backlight, that maybe that's not going to work out. So you're going to pivot to the left or right to not have that happening. Once you figure out all the limitations of the lens, it really does start to create some like great images for an entire wedding day for you. This is me taking photos of rain. I thought it looked cool. I don't know. We weren't even drinking, and I thought that looked cool. Maybe it does. All right, now it's coming in. I don't know if I like that photo. I didn't really see it. It was underexposed before it came in. This is a cool photo. So this is the one that I kind of envisioned getting. So this could be, again, like if they're printing out a bunch of photos, this could for sure be kind of a negative space one that could be kind of in juxtaposition with the clouds or something like that. I think it's a cool photo to have that I would not normally have delivered to my couple or even shot. More photos of Tim creeping. I don't know if I think we have enough good photos of Tim. I don't think we need any more. Let's get to the wedding day. Here comes Micah. He's a basketball coach as well, which you'll see from his his folio. So again, just like one click with a little bit of exposure, and I think that's pretty perfect. I also do have kind of a finishing layer, I guess, as well that does include just some, I don't know, some skin smoothing so that even though like everything is really sharp, I do like it kind of on the smoother side of things. So I do that to everything as well. So difficult conditions. If it was sunny, I feel like it would have been perfect and I would been able to see all of the water, but because it's cloudy, it's a little bit more challenging, unfortunately. So here's the folio with the wedding license and everything in it, and also the basketball court, which I think is pretty funny. Coach board. They play basketball, I think, like every morning, so I felt that it was a good thing to include in the day. So again, like this 85, like if I was shooting with anything else, this image would have looked good, but I think it looks a heck of a lot better with that 85. So this was just shooting everybody as they were coming down. It seemed like it was going to be like perfect because they're kind of isolated in this perfect leading line style environment, but there was kind of this thing here and just the way we were standing because we were on the other side of the water, it didn't really line up exactly as I wanted. What I found that was like the best shot is kind of this corner here as they came around. This way you got some green space, you got some nice separation. And yeah, it looks like she's like doing that corner at like 3 Gs. Risky turn. All right, so I'll have to Photoshop out Lorena, wedding coordinator. But yeah, they just kind of walked around and kept stopping for photos. So I kind of stopped taking them and I just wanted them to like just continue doing their thing. This is Tim, Mr. Left Eye Dominant Shooter. One more time. I think that's the last Tim photo of the day. And end of the aisle. Because the other one worked out so well, and then I was on the other side because I was getting Hugo's reaction, then I ran over, and I'm happy with this, but the original shot from over here, I think is a much better frame with everything going on. But hopefully Tim got that. I haven't seen many of his photos yet, but I'm sure he did. All right. It's Andreas. Just soaked. So he was basically what, like, all these guys work, or at least a significant number of them all work for an event production team, so they do like DJ and everything. And poor Andreas gets tasked with the idea to just like that, like, you have to do all the AV setup for a wedding, which is like a crazy intense thing, especially in Mexico with like all the variables. There's just so many that you can't ever predict. And then to add rain to that, and then to add that inside here there was like 4 power outlets, but only one of them kind of worked, and we got it to work a little bit better, and then we had to run everything off of that. So all of this system is going off of something that like is barely functioning. So welcome to a pavilion in Mexico. I don't really love that image. All right. Got married. I think this is my favorite photo. Maybe not. Maybe the next one. I think that's my favorite moment. But as you can see, so like I guess as a testament to shooting wide, is that if I just would have had like just them in focus, and maybe Micah off to the right here or left, that would have been like the perfect frame. But because I'm a little bit wider, I have some other things in the frame that don't really make it as good as it should be. So that's another reason why I like shooting 85, and that I prefer to shoot at 85 rather than like a 24-70 all day. Even though 24-70, maybe you get more photos, I feel like with an 85 you get better quality of photos, and you have more control over the backgrounds that for the most part I just don't want things to exist in the background, because those are the components that end up ruining images sometimes. This is George on his way up the aisle, looking very suave. This is Marshall just looking sad. He came in to help Andreas rescue basically everything from the water as it started to rain. It's all Marshall's gear from back at home. He does like rental staging, AV stuff. And yeah, so he ran out to the water, and he was not having the best day after that. It improved, but it was once his feet got less wet, I think. This is Tim hiding in the bushes. Really doing a great job. This is a better one. I like this because of because of Tim only hiding his face, full body out there, just hiding his face. But again, it's like today, since everyone's friends, it's a lot easier, I think. And I don't worry too hard about not including vendors in the background because everybody's friends. This is the reception. So I ran up here to get some shots. These are pretty good, like one-click preset, I think. I'm gonna bring this crop down just a little bit so you can't see the roof. There, that looks really nice. That almost looks a little bit better than real life. I don't think that anybody really saw it at this time of the day when it was like in perfect lighting. Everybody came in once it was a little bit darker, even though my camera will counter me in that argument. But definitely it was like, I would say like optimal time right there. So I'm really happy with this shot with the chopsticks. All right, going for a little walk. Not centered because Tim is centered, and I'm trying not to be that guy. A little too warm in here just because there's a lot of warm tones going on, so I'm gonna cool it down just a little bit. It's also I guess like kind of some harder lighting as well, as far as just like the way that it's coming in directly here. It's adding 3-dimensionality, which is nice, but also not really the best, most flattering. This is dark image. There we go. Came back. Look at that. So that's my in camera. She was just sitting on the couch, so I figured it was worth a shot. And I think I'm quite happy with that image, even though I massively underexposed it. All right, so I'm gonna have to cool this down just a little bit. They're getting a little too peachy almost. Entrances. Everybody walks in. Everybody's so excited. First dance. So the green tone that's getting picked up is from the green lights behind me. They were changing colors during the first dance, which was a little bit hard. So I might even go to like a black and white or something for this. Yeah, that's a lot better. So again, if color is ever weird, specifically like DJ lights are a little bit weird, black and white can sometimes save those images. Like again, like really nice image, but just the hair pickup is kind of a little bit weird from all the greens. But something like that looks a lot better. All right, I've rotated away from the lights and now shooting kind of more into the trees. Which I like a little bit better. Again, I can still see, I think it's like a magenta color now. I can still see a little bit of pickup from the lights, but I feel like that's just because I was there, and that was me. All right, the dip. I'm gonna make the dip a little straighter. Cool. So everybody in the background worked out at this moment, which is awesome. Maybe. Sorry, dude. Everybody all now looks good, I think, in the image. And yeah, I'm happy with it. And again, like these lights are a little bit much. Eventually we did kind of talk to, or actually we didn't really talk to them. Marshall just went and just changed all of the lights to white. And at that point, everything got really, really good. So straight one click. This is George just posing. I almost prefer this, like, even though it's like, it's funny. When to get like one really good photo of the MC is really hard when they're speaking. So when they're kind of like dumb and they're like, oh yeah, I'll just pose for this photo. It actually turned out really well because he was talking here and then he stopped talking to take this photo and then just like did a straight pose for this one. And it turned out really well. So I'm happy with that. George and Hugo's dad. Cool. Everything looking really good, color wise. This is heading out into the balcony or the front, not even anywhere nice really, just the front driveway. But this is like, I'm super happy with this image. Straight out of camera. This isn't the JPEG, but the straight out of camera JPEG of this image, I was like ready to just be like, yeah, I'm just happy to deliver that because it looks so cool. So this is just us leaving to go take some sunset photos, and even though they're way too warm, I'm happy to have them as too warm because well, one, this is actually what was happening. It was the sun was like beating into this lobby, and two, I like things warmer. Life does look better in the sunset. I think that looks good. I wasn't sure if this image was going to work out. In my mind, it looked like it was going to be amazing. In real life, it's fine. See if Tim does anything. More photos of Marshall. These are mostly just for Marshall's mom. Hopefully his mom appreciates that. And this is Tim just doing some photos with them. He was getting them to walk up and down the pathway here. And I don't know if that one's my favorite. It's okay. And then I actually kind of like the idea of having like Tim kind of in this shot. The way that he kind of like frames here is actually kind of interesting. So I kind of like it. Maybe it's a bit weird. I don't know. I tried to do it again once I saw that I kind of like that to make it a little less. But yeah, this is Tim's lens. You guys know their cameras, but I feel like I don't know if they'll probably know their cameras as well. But I kind of like it. I don't know. I'll keep it. And then these ones are my favorite. Second shooting, again, like Tim shooting kind of the money shot of them walking down the road here and kind of back. And I'm just trying to get off center and get away from his exact same shots that he's shooting. Because Marshall's also there and also shooting images. So this was more kind of what Tim was getting. And Tim was in control of kind of everything here. And I was just along for the ride. I like that. That's a nice scene. And then I kind of did a few of kind of my own thing here. Wow, that's a significant vignette down her arm. I like these images. I might... Again, contrast down, shadows up to do exposure edits. And then you can also hold Option, I'm assuming it's probably Alt in if you're a PC user, to kind of erase whatever you've just done there. So clicking adds it, holding that down erases wherever. So I think that's kind of nice actually. And I might do that again to this image too. because I feel like it is a pretty noticeable shift. All right, somewhere like that's good by me. And again, these are all just same Mexico preset. Haven't changed anything since adding that to literally everything. And I like that first image a lot better. And this is the Dusk in the Summer Tim shot, dashboard confessional. So now this was a shot. I tried really hard to make this work. I was like, yeah, it's going to be the greatest shot ever. And then it's dumb. I don't know. Is it dumb? It's dumb. It's not good. It's not a good photo. I always feel bad when I make people do stuff. And then I guess they probably wouldn't remember if we just didn't deliver these photos of this specific section, but I don't know. So After Dark, I guess I would typically be using my After Dark preset here. But it's quite similar in these purple conditions, and I kind of like it the way that it is right now. So I don't mind to leave it a little bit underexposed. That one needs to come up a little bit. But there's a person in the back, which I don't love. This is pretty nice. I don't mind it being a little bit more purple because it was literally purple there. So I think that's allowed. One more photo of Marshall for his mom. And Tim, trying new and interesting filming techniques after a couple of glasses of champagne. It's Destination Weddings. And then we're going to end it here with Andreas. Andreas on the, I have one of those right here. Right there. That's what that is. All right, that's all. Hopefully you enjoyed, and hopefully if you're a Patreon member, these presets will come in handy if you find yourself in any environments that are similar to this. As I said, you are welcome to use any of these for like anything that you want. These are simply guidelines, suggestions, and you're also, I've noticed a lot of people are making blends of different aspects of different presets that they like to kind of build their own presets. So I think that is kind of the best way to go about it. Find a good starting point that you can kind of make your main preset. If you've already found one, that's awesome. And you want to just kind of introduce elements from my presets into it, that's cool too. Whatever you want to do, just feel free, go to the world and create good images and make them look good. All right. Thanks for watching today, and I'll see you again tomorrow.